your favorite device. IllinoisFarmRadio.com. IllinoisFarmRadio.com. And be in the know.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, Dr. Hilary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools. Dr. Stanifer, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Doing great over here. Hopefully, we have a little bit of rain going on over here. Not sure what you're seeing over there in Clinton.
And we had it this morning.
Yeah.
So nothing crazy. Nothing crazy.
Nope.
Just some light rain. So, well, Dr. Stanifer, you ready for our last hour together, or last 20 minutes together, if you will?
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Having a lot of lasts coming up right now.
No doubt. Last day of school was when for you and your kids?
Kids finished up last Thursday, and a good number of adults finished up on Friday. There's still a good number here. We have administrators and secretaries that are still here for a couple more days, but we're narrowing down the numbers right now.
Sure. Very good. Well, coming up on the end of the year, let's just kind of put a bow on the school year, Dr. Stanifer. First of all, graduation, 8th grade promotion. What were some of the highlights of your last month or so there in Blue Ridge?
Yep, you named two of them. So graduation we had on Sunday. I believe that date was maybe the 18th. It was a beautiful day. And so we had our high schoolers graduate in our main gym. We always like to have a lot of pictures taken outside. So we were so thankful that the weather was absolutely perfect that day. Our speeches from our salutatorian and valedictorian were on point. They were very nice. We had one of our young gentlemen was able to physically walk across stage. That was his goal from a number of years ago, probably from some of his health concerns that started back in 6th grade. And so that was just a huge celebration for everybody. And when your numbers are small, we were in the mid-30s that we had for a graduating class that made it across the stage. We were able to do a really nice presentation where families sent in baby pictures and young life pictures, and then high school senior pictures, and just to show where everybody's going to go, what they plan on doing next year was really fun to see. We got to celebrate together. And I did something special at graduation. I played in my last Blue Ridge High School band.
Oh, nice.
So I played flute, and that was fun to be able to sit in with them one last time.
Cool.
And our 8th grade promotion, we used to do an 8th grade graduation, but I feel like we've kind of, many districts along with us, decided to move on from 8th grade graduation. We just call it an 8th grade promotion, but it's a special day. Parents come in, they put a big breakfast together for their 8th grade class, which was fun. And then they have an assembly that morning where they get their promotion certificates, but also a list of awards too. So, and then they clean out their lockers and they leave with mom and dad on that day. So that was last week, earlier in the week. So yeah, it's been a good step down with kids leaving. They did well as they were leaving.
Nice. Very good. Very good. Well, by the way, do you participate in band events often?
I did play in the Christmas concert this year. I had told our band director, he knew that I played flute through high school and college and so on. And I told him, I really want to do this. And he was like, sure. So I went to a couple rehearsals before the Christmas concert. This time it was a little bit more impromptu, but he offered the music a couple days before graduation. I said, yep, I'd love to do it. So
yeah. Well, how good are your band students? I mean, did you feel overwhelmed being amongst them?
Well, for the Christmas concert, I have to say that I did have to do some practice because I don't know if are you a musician yourself?
I played saxophone in high school. That's about the extent of it.
Okay, so the embouchure is a thing, and so with the flute, once that mouth isn't used to playing for a while, it's going to get tired pretty quickly. And I'll tell you what else: when you have to wear bifocals, it's a big deal when you're trying to find where am I going to look to find this music.
Yep.
So a couple extra challenges, but I tried not to hurt them in the Christmas concert, but I think I could hang with them pretty good in the song that they picked for graduation.
There you go. Good deal. Well, that's exciting. That's a lot of fun for you, for sure. Yeah. Not a lot of soups get to do that on their way out. So that's fun stuff. Great stuff. Very good. Well, what were some of the highlights of the school year from your perspective, Dr. Stanifer? I know I got invited over over to your building a few times for some of the accomplishments of various students to highlight that. What were some of the standout moments of this past school year for you?
Yeah, I would say the standout moments were really having great conversations with people about how do we continue to move forward? How do we continue to get better? We had our curriculum coordinator, Paige, and her husband, Derek's probably listening right now, so we'll give a shout out to Derek Trimble. But his wife, Paige, does a fantastic job, and she worked the entire year, actually longer than the entire year, with a group of teachers of English language arts to really look at the new state literacy plan and to look at the curriculum that we have currently and to see if it lined up and met all the requirements of the state literacy plan, which was very well developed with ISBE leading the way. And so by doing that, they came up with their non-negotiables. If we were going to purchase something new, what did it have to have? And they did so much research with looking at different curriculum packages, going and visiting places where their top choices were being implemented to see how was it really, not just from a salesperson's perspective, but from an actual teacher who had gone through the process with kids. What results are you seeing? And it's a very long process to do well. And I understand that because that used to be my job. But she was able to reach an agreement with all of our teachers from kindergarten through 8th grade with one curriculum. And so the board just adopted that. I think it was back in April that they did that. So now they're busy training. They're going to be working on that all summer. But I would say that was probably one of our biggest accomplishments academically throughout the year.
Nice.
And then, the physical plant, that we're building a track outside. And so the workers were already there this morning when I pulled in at 7, and we're getting our track surface. I didn't realize that a track surface would come in big, large white bags that look like they could have, drainage tubing in there. And then it's like,
see, I figured it was like asphalt. They just laid it down and then marked it up.
Yeah, no, it comes in these bags, and then it's going to, be mixed with something else, and then it becomes the surface. So we have the crushed rock layer down, we have the asphalt layer down, and now they're working on the track surfacing. So that's fun to come in every day and be able to see. We have a committee that comes together from a lot of alumni that we're working on the Memorial Plaza. That's going to be the entrance to the track. So there's a lot of things that are new and upcoming, going to be really fun for Mr. Payton to start with. Nice. And then you also came and talked to our Kid Wind group that went to Arizona. So no prizes were awarded there for our kids, but oh my goodness, were there a lot of learning experiences, just being in such an environment with other learners and other kids and teachers that wanted to learn about this new form of energy. This was actually the world. It wasn't just a national competition. It was a world competition that they were in. So really neat experience. And some of our kids flew for the first time.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. They were excited about that. They really were. So that was a fun group to jump into and see what they were doing and all of those things. And sounds like that program's going to continue on. That's a great one. So kudos to you all for that opportunity for those kids. And they are there this week. No, they left literally 30 minutes after graduation finished. Because we had some seniors that walked. They had all their stuff, all their suitcases were there before graduation. They did a double check. And then one of our drivers took them up to O'Hare that afternoon. And then Paige, who I already talked about, she went up that Thursday night. So that would have been, so the Thursday last week. She went up Thursday night because they were supposed to come home or maybe it was Wednesday night. They were supposed to come home very early in the morning, like 2:00 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Their plane didn't land till like 7:30 in the morning. So she waited a long time for them. Oh, goodness. Well, it was an exciting year and, a year to send you out right on, it sounds like. So yeah, very good. Very good. And in the midst of all of that, you had to transition yourself out and kind of help bring on Mr. Payton, who is going to be taking over the reins of the superintendency. How was that process?
Yeah, we're doing very well with that. In fact, he's scheduled to come in tomorrow and we'll start working a little bit more. We'll do some more hand over hand kind of things right now. So we had Mary Diener, who is our retired administrator, who's been with us this is 5 years now. She was doing her work 2 to 3 days a week over at the elementary building. So that allowed Mr. Payton to come and be with me. So we've talked about a lot of things throughout the year, kind of made his to-do list by month. And he started to attend more meetings with me, from Tri-County meetings to the ROE meetings to our Bush U management meetings, all the different things that are part of my regular daily and weekly routine. So you can never, it's kind of like a life-size map. You can never tell somebody the whole entire package, right? But you hope to hit the highlights and set them up in a place where they can come in and start running right where you left off instead of having to create the wheel.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully what I've done.
Well, I'm looking forward to catching up with Mr. Payton, and I'll tell you what. If you want to pass along to him, we'll kind of, I guess, take care of this on the air this morning. I'll let him have the summer to get his feet wet and all those things, and maybe I'll touch base with him in August as we get ready for the start of school, if that works for you all.
Yep, that sounds like a great plan.
Cool.
I'll make note of that.
Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. Well, Dr. Stanifer, I'll tell you what, rather than jump into a conversation and have to break halfway through or just even a little bit into it, let's break now and let's come back and just talk about you, if that's all right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Dr. Hilary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, my guest on the Zoom today. More to come on the morning show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. A steady start for corn, beans lower, and wheat starting the day higher. July corn opening 458 3/4, down 3/4. September corn up 3/4, 434.5. December new crop 447, up half a penny. July beans starting the day 1057 3/4, down 4 3/4. August beans 1054 3/4, down 3 1/4. And November beans 1046 1/4, down 4 1/2. July wheat opening 534, up 5 1/2. September wheat 549 3/4, up 5 1/2. And December wheat 572 3/4, up 5 1/4. July bean meal, $295.10, that's down $1.20, and July bean oil, $49.59, up 2 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton and Farmer City. This is what we strive to do each and every day. We'll listen to you, give you the options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that is knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
If you've got allergies this season, we have relief. CEO Paul Scarron here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Come to our walk-in clinic inside our family medicine. No appointment, no problem. See our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, and good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, Dr. Hilary Stanifer, Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools. And Dr. Stanifer, while you put the bow on the 24-25 school year, you also put the bow on a fantastic career in education. So tell us a little bit about what's next for you, I guess. What's do you have a post-retirement plan? You going to go somewhere? You going to do something? What do you want to do with yourself?
Yeah, that's been the question for the whole entire year. And it's funny. All educators worked for that last finish line where, how can I get there? It's going to be so far away. How am I ever going to get there? And then when it comes close enough, you're like, oh boy, I've been doing this for 35 years. What else am I going to do with myself? So yeah, I knew that I actually prayed a lot about would I be able to find the right thing, and would I know that it was the right thing? So I'll tell you one small thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to continue coaching through the Illinois Principals Association. Okay. I started doing that this year. And I guess the only professional regret that I've had is I never had a student teacher. I got close one year and that didn't come to fruition. And so I've always wished that I would have been able to have that. So I I kind of feel like the work that I get to do through IPA and coaching a few principals down in a Southern Illinois school district, that's been very rewarding for me. And so I'm going to continue to do a little bit of that coaching, which basically means, an hour a week working with someone, trying to help them through some of the things that they're puzzling about in their career. So it's kind of like a student teacher at a different level. So I'll be doing that. I do have something else lined up, but it's related to many other things, and I can't speak it out loud yet, but I'm going to be really excited. I'll let you find out somehow. Either Mr. Payton will tell you, or I'll shoot you an email and let you know.
Yeah, do that.
But it's a perfect fit for me.
Nice.
And then other than that, we got a small vacation with our girls coming up in Southwest Michigan. We're going to go around South Haven the beginning of July for just over a week. It'll be an anniversary and a retirement celebration, and our girls will come in and out as they're able to. So that's going to be a really fun time just to relax and learn how to relax, I should say. I don't do very well at that. I'm going to be a student of the relaxation process.
Well, definitely relax, but also keep yourself busy. It's a fine balance. But at any rate, Dr. Stanifer, many years in education. Tell us about why you got into education, where you started, and remind us how you ended up at Blue Ridge.
Yeah. Well, so I always had a love for math. My dad's a numbers guy. And so when I went to college, I lived in the state of Indiana at that time, went to Indiana Wesleyan and tried many different majors, landed up with a math degree and a business degree. I had tried education. That class really didn't strike any good thoughts for me. So I went in a different direction. And it wasn't until I was about ready to graduate that I was kind of puzzled with what am I going to do next. And my dad said, haven't you figured out that you need to be a math teacher? And I thought, gosh, I hadn't thought about that. Maybe that's why my math teachers in high school always wanted me to run the homework review at the beginning of class. So I stayed a fifth year and added on education. And that was the best choice that I had made. So I started teaching, followed my husband up to where he was from, which is Southeast Michigan. Started my teaching career there. When I applied for my first job, it was right before our wedding, and I didn't get it. I was heartbroken. Came back after our honeymoon, and same district called with a different position. The first position that I didn't get was high school math. The position that I did land up getting was junior high math, and absolutely loved it. That age, it's a love-hate relationship, and I absolutely loved it. So I taught for 9 years there. My husband was asked to help start a church in Southern Illinois. After I taught 9 years in Michigan. So then I went down to that area. I taught in the Collinsville School District for a year. It wasn't a great match. Went over to the Edwardsville School District where I stayed for 17 years and moved from teaching, went to the high school for a year, and then I became an administrator. I had actually gotten my administrative degree back in my second through fourth years of teaching and sat on it for like 12 or 14 years until somebody came to me and said, hey, have you ever considered using that degree? That was a real turning point. I remember where I was standing in what building when that mentor, Dennis Cramsey, said to me, have you ever thought about using it? I don't think I ever would have if somebody didn't ask me, which is kind of crazy. So I've tried to spend my administrative time really looking for who are those next leaders. And sometimes females, more often than males, I would say, often don't look at themselves as being a leader and taking a next step. And so I've really tried to push when I see those characteristics in, especially a female teacher, I tried to push in that direction. So then my husband's job took us to this area. That was back in 2016. I worked in the Champaign School District for a year. Again, wasn't a great fit for me. And somebody from our church said, hey, Blue Ridge is looking for a curriculum coordinator. It was a brand new position for them, and it wasn't supposed to be full time. But I talked to Susan Wilson on the phone. Again, I remember where I was sitting when I had that conversation, and she said, you're probably not looking for part-time work, are you? I said, nope, but I like what you're talking about. Let's keep going. And so the board made it a full-time spot. I did that for 3 years. And then when she retired, I rolled into this spot. So it's been a good long fit.
Did you know her before Blue Ridge?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah.
Nice. What did you come to like about Blue Ridge?
I have never worked in a school district of this size. Everywhere I've worked has been much larger, and the everybody talks about the family feel, but it's real. The kids that are coming through school, their parents work here. They do all different jobs. They could be paras, they could be bus drivers, they could be teachers, administrators. And so you get to know everybody on a very personal level. And I've never been able to experience that before. It's also very true that when you're a small group, you can I could say you can steer the ship a lot easier and move in a new direction. If you have to bring a new curriculum in and train everybody, we're talking, 2 teachers at a grade level or 3 teachers at a grade level versus, 40 or 50 people that you have to train. So you can be much more nimble, I would say, in making your decisions. So those are some of the things that I really enjoyed.
What are you going to miss?
What am I going to miss? I'm going to miss the routine, just like the structure when kids are home on a, vacation, even spring break or whatever, or summer break. You really crave that routine, and that's true for me. I'm going to miss the relationships that I've built. I had some very nice, very thoughtful send-offs from the whole entire district and the admin team on a separate occasion. And just, I'm just very grateful for, I never knew if this was the right place for me to finish my career. 8 years ago, was this going to be the right fit? Had a couple offers here and there to, break a commitment here and go back to where I came from. And it wasn't the right thing to do. And I'm so glad that I made the decision to stay. The board has been very kind. I feel like we've made some good, powerful decisions together to take our kids to an even better, higher place than we could have before. So
Sure. Well, what's the next 30 days look like for you, Dr. Stanifer?
Well, actually, I'm trying to, I always say to Ryan, Susan Wilson still lives inside the desk that I have. I live on top of the desk. So I'm trying to be mindful now that I've been here for 5 years. I feel like I have some knowledge about what I can discard, what I can file elsewhere, so I can move into the desk with some extra space so he can live inside his desk.
Yeah, sure. Very good. Dr. Stanifer, it has always been a pleasure to have you on. I'm going to miss the conversation, but I know you're going to do great things with whatever is next for you. Stay in touch and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Seth. It's been a pleasure.
Dr. Hilary Stanifer, Superintendent of the Blue Ridge Schools, our guest on the Zoom for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News is now.
WHOW.